What up everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be going over the different types of fishing lines and what I would use them for. So as you all know, fishing, when you really get into it, in some ways it's a science and there's a lot of different things you can get into, and one of the biggest ones is being line. Especially in the world of bass fishing, there's typically 3 types of lines you'd use, typically only 2, but some dudes do dabble into 3. And the big 3 across all fishing is going to be fluorocarbon, braid, and monofilament. Overall, those are the 3 general types of fishing lines, but I'd say there's some subspecies of lines when it comes to different fluorocarbons, but mostly braid. Braid has many different types of species of braids. But in general, different types of lines, they all have their purpose, strengths, weaknesses, and they're different, but they're all good. No matter what you use, you're gonna be fine. However, there's some that I would recommend using for, in general, or specific types of equipment or techniques. But I'm gonna stop boring y'all with the general stuff, so let's get into the nitty-gritty on different types of lines and what I'd use them for. Starting with fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon, overall, it's my favorite line. I use it for the most stuff. It's sensitive, has a moderate diameter, so when it comes to line, there's different diameters, and typically it gets bigger with line size or weight. So I mean, 15-pound fluorocarbon, this Cigar Red Label is a 0.013 diameter. So overall, a moderate diameter. So it's not gonna take up a ton of space on your reel. It's gonna be smaller and a little bit more sensitive. When it comes to fluorocarbon, it is a resin line, so you're still gonna have some stretch in it. Typically, it's a low stretch line, most fluorocarbon is. And with that, you get kind of the best of both worlds, because you get the strength of, let's say, like braid, but you still get some stretch to where, like or monofilament, to where you can fight those fish really well, because you still get a little bit of stretch and play with the line, but you still have that strength to bring those big old swamp donkeys in. When it comes to line, if I had to choose one line to use for the rest of my life, it'd probably be fluorocarbon, because I'd say it's the most dynamic. You can really use it for anything, whether it's flipping, dragging, cranking, and even a little bit of top water. Wouldn't recommend it, but you can use it. I've done it before and it's worked fine. For example, I got my go-to combo. It's just going to a pond, or if I had to use one combo while I'm out on the water, this is what I'd use. I use 15-pound fluorocarbon, and it gets the job done in any situation. Like I said, it's not gonna be like perfect for every situation, but in general, it's gonna do decent in every situation. So overall, if you're a newer angler looking in the line, I'd really suggest moving away from monofilament, because that's what most anglers start with. I know that's what I started with, but I'd get away with monofilament and I'd go to a fluorocarbon. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's worth every penny. I mean, you get the strength, play, the diameter, the resistance when it comes to like abrasion. So like going up against rocks, trees, stuff like that, it's not gonna get as many nicks in it. And if you do, it's still gonna hold its strength, unlike some other types of lines. And yeah, overall, new anglers looking to get some fluorocarbon. In general, if you're looking for a line to do a little bit of everything, just go with 15-pound. It's gonna give you that strength, but it's not gonna be too thick and overpowering for all types of fishing scenarios. Moving on to the next type of line, we're gonna be talking about braid. When it comes to braid, overall, it's a really good line. Braid is one of those where it's actually a yarn type material. I don't honestly know the exact word for what it's made out of, but it's a line that has 0 stretch and it floats. So it's gonna be really good for your topwater situations. My topwater rod has braid, as well as if you live in a highly vegetation rich area like the Southern Belt, Florida. Most guys down there actually run braid more often, because they got that vegetation. They can get away with it because braid is the easiest line for fish to see. So you're gonna want somewhere where the water is either really dirty, or they won't be able to see the line at all because you're doing top water, or it's in the grass. Typically, braid's gonna have the smallest diameter, so it's gonna be smoother, take up less real estate on your spool. And overall, it's a great line. Like I said, top water, highly vegetation areas, as well as finesse combos. I didn't bring one out here today to show y'all, but typically, if you're really into finesse, you want something that's going to be able to cast far, which is where the braid comes in, and be strong. However, you need something that doesn't float to where your bait doesn't look weird and the fish can't see your line, which is where both of these come into. When it comes to finesse combos, you're typically going to run either a 12 to 15 pound braid main line with, let's say, an 8 to 10 pound fluorocarbon leader, which is where the braid attaches to the fluorocarbon, and the fluorocarbon can be like, let's say, 7 feet down to your bait. So getting back on track, overall, this is more of a power fishing style line, and it's got the most types of variations of line. So when it comes to braid, there's typically 4 strand and 8 strand, and that means how many strands of, let's say, yarn is in a line. So this Seaguar right here, this is actually 4 strand. I prefer 8 strand. It tends to be smoother on the finger, and overall I just like it a little better. However, to be honest, I'm not sure what the real difference is between them, besides 4 strand tends to be rougher because the line's a little thicker and there's less of it to make it smoother. So yeah, not only are there 2 types of strands which you can look at when you're getting in the line, but there's also colors. Let's say finesse, you're gonna want something high vis so you can see your line a little easier, you can see the bites a little easier. And then there's, when it comes to braid, since it's like a yarn material, you can just pretty much dye it. So this is like a natural camo. You can get black, white, there's like blue camo, green camo. I mean, it's pretty much endless when it comes to colors on this. I've even seen like pink camo, red, white, and blue camo. So when it comes to braid, it's probably got the most options. However, it's not going to be the best due to the fact that it floats and doesn't have a ton of stretch. I mean, 0 stretch. It's not going to be the best for everything. However, it is the most diverse. And then lastly, you got your monofilament. I really don't use it at all because it's really weak and it holds memory really a lot. And for anyone who doesn't know, memory is what the line kind of like sits in. If it's been sitting on a spool, whatever, it's when it like twirls. That's memory. So monofilament's gonna have the highest amount of memory, so it's just gonna be like this all the time. I personally hate that. It's annoying, it's ugly, and it gets a bunch of knots. It's not as sensitive, etc. Not to mention monofilament has the highest amount of stretch. So setting the hook, stuff like that, your line can either snap or it's just gonna stretch out to where you actually have to work with your drag and stuff like that to make sure you don't rip a fish off, pretty much, which is where you're overpowering the fish in the line and it just snaps. Overall, if you're a bass fisherman looking to use monofilament, the only thing I would even consider using it on is crankbaits, and specifically deep cranks where it's gonna be down deep and you're gonna be running on a lot of structure, stuff like that, and you're gonna have some of the bigger fish jumping on it. But other than that, honestly, I wouldn't recommend it at all. I don't use it on anything. I don't have a reason to use it, and I don't like it. I grew up with it and I hate it. But yeah, overall, monofilament's not good. Big topic, memory. When it comes to fluorocarbon, it's gonna have the medium amount of memory. You can do some tips and tricks on it to make it lose memory. You can stretch it out a little bit, or you can boil it in hot water before you put it on your spool. That's gonna help cut down on memory. Braid has 0 memory. It's just the way it goes on is the way it comes off. It's nice, smooth, straight. And then monofilament, like I said, it's gonna hold memory, so just get ready for that. Yeah, I hope this helps. Comment down below if I miss anything. I'll make either shorts or another video going even more in depth on different types of lines. And yeah, I hope this helps. New anglers, take notes and like, subscribe, comment down below. Like I said, tell me what y'all want to see next, and hope this helps catch more fish. See y'all.